Welcome to this month's Small Biz Virtual Summit. My name is Ken Massa, and I am here with Chuck Boyce. Today, we're bringing on a variety of guests that cover topics in everyday problems that we face within the business world. But our guests are experts in creating solutions to these challenges. And these challenges may be everyday problems that you're facing as a business owner, an entrepreneur, or someone that works in a very amazing business, but you face problems that we all face. Here is a way where you can find those solutions, where you can listen to those who have experienced the same things that you're going through, and even come up with a solution that may work for you. As a business owner, you're likely to find out that time is one of your biggest assets. And it's a tremendous hurdle to manage time and become more efficient with your time. Today's guest has effectively driven results with time management practices and has created strategies with virtual assistants to help you create a larger efficiency with time management as a business owner to be able to get things done correctly and on time. So we welcome Mark Marley as our guest today.
Thank you.
Mark.
Hey, hello, Chuck. Hey, guys.
Great to have you on. Thank you for visiting us today.
So, Mark, why don't you give us a little bit about your background and how you came into being the VA time guru?
Well, yeah, I just recently exited a technology company that I had had for about 29 years. One of the things that made me stand out, separate me from other technology companies, allow me to do what I did to grow the business and also to have other business in a life besides my business, was that I leveraged technology and I leveraged other people. I was able to run my technology company in about 20 hours of my personal time per month completely to run the company. I had learned to delegate everything to the point where everything is documented, everything's delegated, and all the people I delegated to are well-trained, and they had the ability to make decisions if needed. So it just freed me up. When I went to sell the company, I thought that was normal, that everyone did that. Then I found out that it wasn't like that people were dealing with a lot of stress and overwhelm. And so I decided to share what I have done in the past to help other business owners regain their life.
Oh, that's awesome. I think no time like the present. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Great, thank you. So what I find is, what I'm going to do today is, I don't want to do a big sales pitch on, what Leads Tracker is and what I do as a coaching and how in our VA program. I really just want to talk about helping people deal with the pitfalls of their business, how they can utilize other people's assets, how they can leverage things to be more profitable and more efficient. I'm here to help people learn basically how to live life by design. And for the sake of this presentation, everybody has their ideas about virtual assistants. And if we could just, for this presentation, just assume that we all agree that virtual assistants work and it's good for your company. And I'll go deeper into that in a minute. But I want to challenge you to go a little deeper in this presentation, because people think that I'm in the VA business or the coaching business. And really business I'm in is by helping people solve problems in their life, their personal life, and their business life, and to spend more time doing the things that they really want to do. What I find is that people are dealing with a lot of burnout. And I see it quite often. And burnout is really not caused by doing too much work or overwhelm. It's really caused by not having the ability to handle the situations as they come up. And that's just because I think the typical small business owner puts a lot of hats on and they hold themselves responsible for everything in the company. And it was when I started releasing the responsibility is when things got better. I mean, I allowed my staff to make decisions that affected the company. And they were well trained and they knew what values were. And I stood behind them. They made a decision. If it cost me money, it didn't matter, because I trusted them. And then we discussed anything that happened and how to prevent it again. And that's one of the best things I did in the company. And it made it very easy. One thing about when I sold my technology company, I hear horror stories. I talked to a colleague just this week. He said he bought a company and it took him almost 2 years to transition the owner out because the owner still wore all the hats. When I left the company, I literally walked away on the day of closing. Is because we had processes and because everyone else in my company did all the work that a typical owner would do. And we're going to talk more about that. Now, when we look at some CEOs or some business owners, you see people who are just killing it. They're crushing it. Well, that's a public facing view. Behind the scenes, they're stressed out. They're overloaded, stressed, whatever. They probably in big debt. They never spend time with their family. They're always on the run, always on the road. And I think that's a little crazy because all they have to do is slow down and learn to leverage. Part of what I talk about is leverage. And there's a lot of things that you can leverage in your company. You can leverage other people's time, other people's assets, their training, their money. It doesn't matter, just as long as you can utilize something else someone else has already built. So today I'm going to show you how I leverage people. And not in a negative way, it's in a positive way. I'm going to show you how we can leverage people's time and their skills and also make a big difference, change their lives. The people in the Philippines that are working with us they love it. I mean, we're paying them a wage as 4 times their minimum wage in their country. They're working at home. They've got quality equipment. They're around their families, and it works out best. We've got, I think last month we had over 92,000 people apply for positions in the company, the VA staffing company we work with. It's amazing what we're doing in that country to help people. But I think there's only 2 things in life that you can leverage. You can leverage non-business activities and you can leverage business activities. By leveraging the non-business activities, a VA can do that for you as well. I've got a sheet that I can provide people. It's all the personal items that I've noticed that a VA can do for me. It's from scheduling appointments to scheduling my car repairs and oil changes and dry cleaners and lawn mowing, whatever it is, the VAs can schedule all that for you. They can even order your groceries. But you also have work activities, business related. That's what we'll cover today as far as what can you allow a VA to do and how quick can you integrate them so that they can help you. A lot of people have the fear of VAs. They don't know how to train them, or they're worried about, language or whatever. It's really been a smooth transition for me. I mean, I had virtual assistants or virtual technicians in at least 6 countries for about 15 years in the technology company. And a lot of those are long-term employees. So it's a system that works well and it works for everyone. But first of all, I want to start right before I get to my presentation about the VAs and go really deep on that. I want to start with that. We're going to address, I think there's 6 things that I believe that I hold to be true that we'll address today in this presentation. One is that what you really want in life is most likely on the other side of the fear. And I have a lot of fear. We all have fear. And some of the fears that I'll see is the fear of change, fear of hiding or hiring someone in a foreign country, fear of growth, fear of delegating. The second thing is that all new actions are unnatural. I mean, do you think it's natural to have an employee in a foreign country that's doing your most valuable work? It's not natural, but it's definitely doable. And in a changing economy, I believe that you can't scale back. You have to scale up to succeed. And the way you scale up is by using people, and a virtual assistant can do that for you. The fourth thing is you must scale while protecting profits. We can all go out and hire a bunch of people to get work done, and even US based, if you can find the quality people, but they're going to cost you a lot of money. And again, that's going to cost you a lot of profit as well. And also the fifth thing is everything about a foreign employee is unnatural. It's not something, their culture's different. Sometimes their accent's different. The way they live with their families is different. So to us, it's unnatural to even sometimes work with them. I mean, we have to get used to, the afternoon when you're talking to your virtual staff, that you might hear roosters. I mean, that's their lifestyle, that's their culture, but that's what we get used to, and it's just unnatural. And I also believe the sixth thing is we must scale through people. If you don't have people in your life and in your company, then you're never going to get to the point of reaching your goals. When I ask people what their goals are, the first number I hear always seems, well, I want to make $1 million. Well, do people understand really what it takes to make $1 million? I mean, typically you're going to have to make 3 to 4 million in sales to reach that $1 million mark. And by doing that yourself just seems almost virtually impossible. I only know a few guys who do it. So what we're going to talk about today, facilitate this, is really just by how you implement an assistant in your company. And really about our company, we're just dedicated to helping all industries learn to harness the power of a virtual assistant from start to finish. It's a turnkey system. People are reading books. These are good books. I read them all, but about how you can work less and do more. You know, whether it's just a shorter week or whether it's a system or process like rocket fuel or the who, not how. It's very important that as you move into this, that you understand these concepts and read about these concepts. My vision is to really show you how to scale your business and profits by building a virtual team that's averaging about $3 to $6 an hour. I use $4 for all my calculations, and that's $640 a month for the virtual assistant. And do it in a way that improves your life and the life of your virtual assistant. I believe every business should have a virtual component. My true mission, though, is to help over 10,000 entrepreneurs plug virtual assistants into their business without paying massive upcharges that reduce profit while improving the lives of the virtual employees and their families. The company the virtual assistant company we're working with, they've been around now for going on 4 years. And we've currently, I just found out, we're over 6,300 virtual assistants placed. That's a huge amount of impact in the Philippines. When you figure now each one of those 6,300 are making anywhere from 4 to 10 times the national minimum wage. And that's done through over 3,500 customers that we've connected with and contracted with to help them recruit the right people. So how do I scale the companies? I mean, we talked a little bit about overwhelm, and you need to hire help, but help is always expensive to hire, and they require a lot of training. So we created this process, which is really pretty simple to do. You really just got to determine what positions you want to grow your business, and we have checklists and worksheets for that. You get rid of the limiting beliefs of your virtual assistants, and you determine if you're going to hire, are you hiring in person or do you want to hire remote? Then you got to choose the hiring process. I'm going to cover this in a few minutes. You got to make sure you have the foundations in place for that when your virtual assistant or your in-person assistant starts, that they have a schedule, they have a description of their job, everything's in place. And then you just kind of figure out what your return on your investment is by hiring that person. So the first step is really just what positions do you want to fill to grow your company? And there's I've listed here several. These are our top leaving 2023 and into 2024. These are the top positions that we're seeing filled: executive admin, personal admin, social media. That's huge. Video editing. And marketing. I mean, we have accounting, we have client managers, inside sales, in about every industry. We do a lot with real estate industry, but we can handle about every industry and provide people that are quality people that then you can train to fulfill whatever you need in your company to grow. And this second step I like for people to do is, what are you doing that you need to stop doing, essentially? Some of the things are, I see CEOs doing their own social media management, their own email, their daily accounting, paying their bills, making personal appointments, whatever it is. There's a lot of things that as you learn to use virtual assistants and personal assistants, that they will help you take these things off your plate, and that'll free up a ton of time for you. And then you also look at what is your business not doing that you should be doing. One big thing is how many people actually reach out and call their past clients, sending thank you notes, keeping up monthly accounting, quality, a YouTube channel, networking and going to more conferences, updating their CRM. It's a lot of things that we should be doing that we're not. And I think if we apply these things to the business, you'll see growth. And if you do this consistently, such as social media, you're going to see some substantial growth in your business and also a substantial increase in your free time. And then we talked, and what else could you do that would actually increase sales? Social media. If you had somebody for $640 a month and you hired them and all they do is they post on every social media platform you have multiple times a day. They're creating the content, they're writing in your voice. It's guaranteed to tremendously increase the value of your company and also and get you more sales. Inside sales agents, outbound appointment setters, calling clients is a lot. If you like to speak on stages, we've got VAs that they look for stages to put you on, to put you in front of the right people, attend masterminds virtually for you, create new brochures. There's so much that you can be doing, including writing books, example, to grow your business and grow your own brand, and your virtual assistants can do that for you. One thing that I do have to deal with a lot when I talk to people is just these limiting beliefs around virtual assistants. I mean, we've all done it. We've had issues with, a piece of electronics that we've purchased or maybe a credit card company, and we make a phone call and we get someone on the other end of the line who doesn't speak great English, their accent's bad, and it makes people think that every time you hire a virtual assistant, you're going to have to deal with that. Well, every country I think that I've dealt with virtual assistants have different skill sets. And some countries, their English is rough and they know it, but I don't usually put those people client facing. The great thing about Philippines is that their English is their primary language for most of the Filipinos. So the language barrier doesn't exist. We also hear, the education level. The college graduation rate in the Philippines is higher than the United States. It's one of the highest. So I'm not worried. Most of the people that we hire have advanced degrees. Security, as a technology person, I had virtual assistants logging into, my clients' most critical data. And we have systems in place to keep that from happening so that there's no threat to the data or your information. You're monitoring what they're doing all day, the payroll, the taxes, a time zone difference. Do we trust them? How do you communicate? All those things are solved if you do it right and you have the foundation in place. We can show you how to handle all that so it's simple for you. And at the end, I'm going to offer you a chance to, at no charge, download a checklist and a cheat sheet of how you can do these things yourself if you choose to go the VA route and you choose to do it yourself. If you look at deciding if you're going to hire in person or virtual, it's, just got to decide if you can accept some of the limitations or the differences of virtual. But the same person with the same skill set in the United States, if you look at a $36,000 salary, it's going to cost you roughly about $50,000 a year to have that person on your payroll. With the virtual, with the same type of skill set, and I have to say that I probably work even harder than most of the people I hire locally, you're going to pay about $7,800 a year for that person. And that includes the bonus that we pay, because in the Filipino culture, they have a thing called the 13th month. And that's like a bonus month that everybody gets paid. It's a law in the Philippines. And so we actually include making that payment so they do get the bonuses that they're used to. So there's 3 ways of recruiting a VA if you go the VA route. If not, then the stuff I'm showing you will also benefit you if you decide to hire local. But I call it the Diddy, and it's a do-it-yourself. Back when I was in the Marine Corps, we always used to have Diddy moves. And the thing was, you could hire a moving crew to move you across the country with your family, or they just had a Diddy move, which they called it do-it-yourself. With that has some benefits. You control the entire process. But you also have the thing where you're hiring freelancers, and they're project driven and money driven. They're not looking for careers, they're looking for projects. And you always have no ID verification. So if you're doing it yourself, then I'd be careful with putting them into your sensitive information to make sure you put the right systems in place. The other way is traditional. When you hire from an agency, some of the limitations there are they're not your employee, they're an employee of the other agency. They usually have you sign long-term contracts. They cost a lot more. I'm going to show you that. And you pay the agency, not the virtual assistant. So you don't have that connection to bond with your virtual assistant. The last one is the way that we do it. It's our VIP club, and that's our virtual income protectors club, where we pay the VA directly, or you pay as a client, you pay them directly, and they are your employee, not ours. You've all seen probably these websites. This is where you can go to do a Diddy hire. You can go to Upwork, Online Jobs, Fiverr. They're all reputable sites. I know the owner, Online Jobs, great guy. But thing about this is most of these sites attract entrepreneurs. What that means is be careful, because some of the people you hire may be working for 5 people at the same time, full time. And when you ask them to record their screen, they're usually not pleased about it because they don't want you to know exactly what they're doing in their 8 hours. So these are good places. I go there sometimes to get, custom stuff done or maybe one-off brochures. But as an employee, I warn about hiring through these services. If you do decide to do it, I'll give you these 15 tips, and I can include these. This is part of the free report at the end. But you just got to have your job descriptions ready. You got to have SOPs for everything you do. Set up reviews. I do request. Mandatory monitoring is important. Having your start of the day, end of day meetings. And you got to just decide how you're going to communicate, which project management you're going to use. We do things like I recommend if you hire your own, put them in a Zoom room. We call it a war room. I don't care if you have 3, 1, 50, whatever. You put them in a room like that all day long. They're required. First of all, you're recording their screen, and you're also put them in a Zoom room, and they're looking at each other. They can communicate all day long. You can jump in, have a meeting with them if you like, and they all get to participate. But I recommend if you're going to do it, at least look at 100, 150 applications and interview 4 to 6 people and be patient. This is a picture of the Zoom room. Teams, and they sit there all day long, working on a computer in the camera. You can see what they're doing. You can see if they're at their desk to make sure it's not someone else, because that does happen where you hire one person and someone else does the work. And that's one of the challenges with some of the other companies, other methods of do it yourself. Just make sure it's the right person. Then there's a traditional agency model. Traditional agency, you typically pay $2,000 a month, give or take a couple $100. And the company keeps the profit, and your executive assistant gets about $640. The company makes the money. And how that scales is every time you're doing well, you like your virtual employee, you hire another one and another one. And before you know it, you're spending with 3 employees, you're spending $6,000 a month. The employees getting $1,920, and the man in the middle, the agency, is making $4,080 a month. And that scales as high as you want to go. If you need 50, just do the math. It's a lot of money. The other way to do this is, first of all, about the traditional, one of the challenges is when you're paying the agency and not paying the person, you lose that connection. You don't know that they're getting paid, and you don't build that bond. When you pay somebody personally every week or two, you build a bond that you can't break. They trust you, and you take that away with the traditional agency. For our services, it's different. Our VIP club, we charge $1,000 a month. It's like a join the club, and you get 5 VAs, up to 5. You still pay the VA salary, but the markup in the middle is not there. With that club, you get one-on-one coaching assigned to you. You get to a recruiter. We're doing recruiting for you. We have over 50,000 pre-vetted candidates. We get access to our virtual assistant course for you and for them. You get access to live weekly calls to help you integrate people into your business. The VA works for you, not for us. You pay them directly. And the VA gets a mentor in the Philippines. That's a big, big difference. All these years that I had people in different countries, I always had somebody in a foreign country that they could reach out to and discuss things, because some things they just don't want to tell Americans. And you get access to our advanced services group. And what that is we have teams designed that are specialized. Say you need a video editor or a graphic designer or a funnel designer, but you don't need it full time. Well, if you're in the club, you can then buy time, so many hours a month of people to do stuff like maybe video editing, podcast editing, graphics, and you can just use, 10, 20 hours a month if you need it to get those tasks completed. In our club, it's a simple rate. You pay I use those $640. That's not guaranteed. Most of the VAs we hire are anywhere from $3 to $6 an hour. And $640 is a lot of money in Philippines. You can live on it very well. And if you think it's not, then you need to get over the shortcoming of thinking of American dollars in our society. They don't have the same expenses that we do. So it's $640. So you pay our fee $1,000 for the first hire. If you add another one, it's another $1,000. If you add a third one, it's still it's the same $1,000. You don't pay any additional. All you're paying is for these salaries. And that goes up to $5,000. And once we cross $5,000, it does increase to $2,000. And then we have larger numbers, up in the 50 to more VAs, which that changes based on the volume or the number that you hire. And if you look at how this compares, the VIP club compared to the traditional, on the third hire, on a traditional model, you're going to pay about $6,000. The VAs are going to get about $1,920. It's the same in our world. VAs get $1,920. We get $1,000. So your total cost with us for those three is about $2,920. And that's a little it varies slightly based on how much you negotiate the payment with the VA. You will be negotiating when you hire them, negotiating their compensation. And you can go higher if you like. It's totally up to you. If you compare it on a 7 VA team, which is pretty common for us to see people with 7 to 9 VAs, it's $14,000 on the traditional model, and it's only $6,480 on our model. So what I see people doing are hiring these types of people. These are the top 9 positions that we're seeing in 2024. Again, we talked about earlier, executive admin, personal admin, assistant, social media, video editors. Just a marketing manager posting on social media every day is huge. Client care, CRM manager, and sales. So these are just some. You don't have to hire all 9 in your company beginning, but if you look at the cost, that's about the cost of one full-time American employee. You can actually get 7 to 9 people in your business. That makes a huge difference to, your freedom and your time freedom. Or if you want to be simple, you can start with these three. Or if you don't need these 3, just start with 1 and start delegating the key task that you need to get done every day. And you'll start seeing a ton of difference in your life. Just give it 30, 60, 90 days, and you're going to see a ton of difference. We've got over 3,500 happy members in the club, and we can show you testimony. We can introduce you to people if you like, but it's really a no-brainer. People are loving the services they're getting and the people that they're hiring. One thing we do is I have a free gift. It's a small business. What it is, it's a pack that I'm going to give you that you will see for the top positions that we offer. Typically, we're going to offer you the job descriptions of those people that we use, and you can modify those for your own use. The 30, 60, 90 days onboarding, the roadmap to train your staff, where they should be in 30 days, where they should be in 60 days, where they should be in 90 days, the KPIs, and you can modify these for your company. But this is how you judge and you grade them, their progress. And then we even give you a daily layout that shows what we recommend, at least for the first 30 days until you're familiar with this person, what they should be doing for every position, especially if you're hiring for a position that you're not good at. And then the software we typically use as well. I think there are typically 3 types of things that you typically want to outsource. One of those are things that you're good at and you enjoy doing. There is the things that you are good at, but you don't enjoy doing. And there's things that you don't know how to do and you hate doing. And the most successful thing that we found to start outsourcing are the things that you're really good at, but you don't enjoy doing. Then you can train them with a passion of how you want things done. And then that person that you train can also create your SOPs for you so that anyone in the future can learn how to do it as well. And we do have SOPs for every position, and you can use those as a starter to write your own SOPs. So with that, if you are interested in getting more information about how to use a VA, whether you do it yourself, you hire an agency, or you want to, join the club and just get quality people for a discounted rate, feel free to reach out. Go to this smallbusiness.leadtracker.crm.com. There will be a download there that you can download that gives you some tools that you can use to implement right away. And if you just do one thing, just go through a study, figure out what you do all day, find out what you can delegate, how to train it. Don't get overwhelmed. Let us help you. You can free up your time and spend the rest of that time with your family. Thank you, guys. Any questions?
So that was really such great information. There's always so much that as small business owners we look at and we do almost out of automatic rote behavior because we keep doing it over and over and we're good at it. But yeah, man, we just really hate doing it. I know there's probably a stack of stuff on my desk that I absolutely should be looking at outsourcing to a VA somewhere. And we'll make sure that those links to those resources are on the Small Biz Virtual Summit landing page. So if you didn't get Mark's URL, you can come right back to this episode's page. We'll have all of the show notes there and all of the resources that Mark has so generously offered to him. Mark, one of the questions that I know that I have, or one of the challenges I faced when I've used offshore talent before is that there'll always be a certain level of criticism that a business owner will get by shipping what people see as shipping jobs overseas when so many people here could potentially do that work. How do you kind of coach your clients to kind of deal with that? Yeah, and I know it comes from family, it comes from friends, but do you have something that you kind of help your clients kind of diffuse that situation?
Yeah, I do. There's a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to clarify the difference between outsourcing and staffing. If I was to go to your company and say, look, Chuck, I'm going to take all your positions. We're going to try about 70% of them, and we're going to replace them with people who are not in America. That's outsourcing, and I don't truly believe in that method. But what I do find is what I hear most often is people come to me and they say, look, I just can't keep up. I've got a quality team. Then we start supplementing or adding to your current team, and your current team stays in place, but they can get so much more done with less stress by sending the work to another country. But it's not truly outsourcing. So another thing too is a lot of people like to be in philanthropy. They like to donate money, like to help foreign lands. One way that you can do it is by helping people help themselves. If we can educate people, give them quality training, quality jobs with benefits, you're helping a whole generation or a whole country without having to truly give. You give by allowing them to work.
That makes sense. I really like the approach of virtual assistants. I know that that's a very big angle for a lot of technology-based businesses. I've seen it in my business line, which is in the kind of the marketing, the tech sector. Are there particular businesses that are best able to use virtual assistants, or are there certain models for businesses that are able to use virtual assistants that are more superior to others? Or do you see this as a use case for any type of business?
It comes to the person. The person has to be open-minded and willing to share. They have to share their innermost secrets, their business secrets, with somebody they don't know, they can't see, they may not trust. We've seen it in every industry. I think a lot of the industries that require a lot of hand-holding, a lot of time, a lot of paperwork, like real estate. Huge success in real estate agents. They can outsource a lot of stuff, everything from transaction coordinators, managing paperwork, scheduling the inspections, scheduling everything, scheduling the closings. It can all be done through a virtual assistant. You can even I've seen them do property managers are huge, but really almost any industry that deals with anything that doesn't require to be on site to do it.
And then another, I guess, a two-part to this. You said that you do have SOPs created to get started with, and then through that, the business owner or the person that is managing the virtual assistants will create more SOPs and evolve that process with the SOPs that are handed over to the VAs, correct?
Yes, that's sort of correct. We start with the SOPs that we have, and they're pretty broad, but they cover specifically each task or each process. Then what I like to do is then you train your virtual assistant on that SOP, make a few changes yourself that fit your company, and then you have your virtual assistant themselves working with their mentor that they have to then rewrite the SOPs to fit exactly what they are doing for you.
Great. And yeah, one of the biggest difficulties, I guess, as any business owner has, whether it's with a VA or someone internal, is creating those standard operating procedures, those sets of rules that allow you to dictate what needs to be done to get the job done and to fulfill the task effectively. So the SOPs are probably one of the most important pieces of the puzzle here. So I like that you have the framework there to help you get started and to create the framework of the SOPs, which then could be kind of evolved as your unique processes are put in place.
Well, it's not just SOPs that are critical. Also bringing in the schedule for the 30, 60, 90 days. Because if you don't know how to train someone, that's one of the reasons that you won't do it, because you're not sure what they're going to do. We give them hourly, the first 8 hours a day for the first 90 days, what they should be doing. And then you can modify that as you like. But worst case scenario, they know what they should be working on.
I like that, because that framework as a whole, that guide or those set standards are hard for a business owner to come up with if you've never seen them before, especially if you're early on in your business and you don't really have experience seeing that type of structure. Being able to use the structure that you've been able to implement in the VA process is really great for someone getting started, because the thinking is out of the picture. It's just action, it's just doing, which is great.
Right. I really think that helps those that are looking to take that first step. So often we find, talking with small business owners and entrepreneurs, that they live in such a state of overwhelm that it becomes harder to see the forest from the trees. It's like everything just seems like such a monumental task. And knowing that at least for those first 90 days, you're providing some framework for them to get started, probably makes that obstacle of getting started just that little bit easier. But besides that, what's the one thing that a small business owner, entrepreneur should do right now, today, to get started on supplementing their staff with virtual assistants?
They need to start doing a simple time study. And I have a form they could even provide, but you really got to start tracking what you spend your time doing and what your key staff spend their time doing. And
sometimes we just don't want to know, Mark. At the end of the day, the unknown can be worse than the unknown.
Yeah, when I first started working with virtual assistants, I had them recording everything I was doing. In fact, screen recording for me and stuff. They were watching what I did all day. And I mean, one of them, they found out I spent like 40 minutes a day watching, cat videos. So, so now they do that for me,
Good that you can outsource your cat video consumption. That this is an important part of our day.
I like that, though, because what you do not measure cannot grow. So I think it's important to measure where people are placing their time and efforts on a daily basis, and then be able to look at it from a more strategic standpoint in the VA process. So I really like that approach. I think that you answered all of my questions today. Chuck, do you have any last-minute questions?
No, I think we've really done you've done a really great job kind of opening certainly my eyes on how, because I know I've done it the hard way. I've hired directly. I've hired through agencies that left a bad taste. But I think you've really outlined a way to get started with virtual assistants that is certainly manageable, certainly is something that we could put into place very quickly. Like I said before, we'll make sure that all of the resources that you've shared are on the Small Biz landing page for this episode. Mark, I thank you for your time and taking time out of your busy day and kind of sharing this really important information with us and our audience today.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate, guys. This is a big opportunity to help people in the smallbiz.com world and expose them to something that maybe they haven't considered. And there's nothing to it but to do it, as Frank Kern says.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys.